All right, well, I'll call the meeting to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Allred?
Present.
Ms. Billman?
Here.
Mr. Fell?
Here.
Mr. Fitch?
Here.
Mr. Hopkins?
Here.
Mr. Weisskopf is excused, and Ms. Yu also does not appear to be here.
Great, we do have a quorum. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are not.
We have the minutes from the September 10th, 2020 Plan Commission regular meeting. Any motions regarding the minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Motion by Mr. Fell. Get a second? Second, Ms. Billman. Any changes to the minutes? We have to do this by roll call, so when you're ready, Mr. Garcia.
Okay, Mr. Allred?
Yes.
Ms. Billman?
Yes.
Mr. Fell?
Yes.
Mr. Fitch?
Yes.
And Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Great, the minutes are approved. Do we have any communications?
Marcus, do we have any communications?
We do not.
Great. We don't have a continued public hearing. We don't have old business, but we do have a new public hearing. This is plan case 2404 SU20, a request by Vital Skin Dermatology for a special use permit to allow a medical clinic at 1111 West Kenyon Road, the B3 zoning district. So Mr. Ricci, whenever you're ready.
I am waking my computer back up, and it looks like it's going to come back up. While it's doing that, I will start with the item. Vital Skin Dermatology, represented by David Line, who is available tonight to answer questions, requests a special use permit to allow the operation of a dermatology clinic at their property at 1111 West Kenyon Road in the B3 General Business Zoning District. They are renovating the existing building to include professional offices, a dermatology clinic, and storage space. Section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance permits professional use in the B3 district, but it would be the proposed dermatology clinic would be treated as a hospital or clinic, which would require a special use in the B3 district. The 9.5 acre site is owned by the applicant and is on the south side of West Kenyon Road between North Lincoln Avenue and Federal Drive. The north half of the parcel is the site of the existing building and parking. The south half of the property is undeveloped wooded scrubland. Other nearby offices include Campus Inc. and Peoria Motor Coach to the west, Holiday Inn Express and Garden Hotel Urbana to the east, and One Illinois North Apartments to the south. Table 1 in your packet summarizes the zoning, current and future land use designations. The property and land to the east is zoned B3 general business. Property to the south is zoned R4 medium density multiple family residential, and property to the west is zoned IN1 light industrial. The future land use designation from the 2005 Urbana Comprehensive Plan designates this area and land to the west as light industrial, land to the east as regional business, and land to the south as multifamily. The existing building was most previously the site of the National Council of Teachers of English. It had offices in it as well as a publishing establishment and where they printed off books and periodicals and distributed those out. The existing building is approximately 40,000 square feet, which would be divided up into corporate offices for the chain of dermatology clinics run by Vital Skin Dermatology and storage space, And then the proposed special use permit would allow the renovation of part of the building into a dermatology clinic associated with the corporate offices, approximately 6,000 square feet. We're looking at, I believe, part of Exhibit D, which are the, is from the application. It's Exhibit E, interior renovation plans. The construction is proposed to be done in 3 phases. Phase 1 is exterior renovations, which are currently in progress. Stage 2 are the interior renovations for the professional offices, and phase 3 is renovation of the dermatology clinic and the warehouse. The clinic work isn't proposed to be done until next spring, so there is plenty of time to have this special use permit processed and through City Council before anything is impacting the project timeline. The hatch marked area is the proposed corporate offices. The portion to the northeast are the proposed dermatology clinics, and the part to the rear would be maintained as a storage space. Moving into the requirements for a special use permit, first criteria, the proposed dermatology clinic is conducive to the public convenience at this location due to its proximity to Interstate I-74 and nearby bus stops. The proposed dermatology clinic would not be injurious or detrimental to the B3 zoning district or to the general public. It should not negatively affect nearby commercial, hotel, or retail uses, and is buffered from the adjacent residential land by open space and trees. And finally, the proposed dermatology clinic would conform to the regulations and standards of and preserve the essential character of the B3 district. The building's footprint will be expanded minimally. I believe that's this area on the west side of the proposed corporate offices, so it would not even be part of the special use permit. The area with the special use permit would not have any expansion of the footprint. The exterior will be changed to modernize the primary facades to a clean contemporary look. Moving into the overview of the proposed project, the conversion of a portion of the existing office building to a dermatology clinic would provide economic benefit to the city and meet the criteria for special use permit approval. It would redevelop an existing structure and would meet all development regulations of the B3 General Business District. The findings are summarized in the staff report, and there are not really any things that I would like to highlight out of that. Plan Commission has the following options in Plan Case 2404 SU20: to recommend approval of the special use permit without any additional conditions, to recommend approval of the special use permit with any conditions deemed appropriate, and to recommend denial of the special use permit. If the Plan Commission elects to do so, it should articulate the findings supporting its denial. Moving to the staff recommendation, if the computer will do so. Bear with me. Staff recommends the Plan Commission recommend approval of the proposed special use permit in Plan Case number 2404 SU20 with the following condition: that construction must be in general conformance with the attached site plan, which allocates approximately 6,000 square feet to clinic space, entitled Vital Skin Dermatology Corporate Offices, Interior and Exterior Renovation and Improvement Package, 1111 West Kenyon Road, dated August 21st, 2020, or approved revisions of these plans. As I mentioned, this is a 3-phase construction project, and the dermatology clinic plans have not been fully, sussed out. They would have to be reviewed and approved by building safety and planning staff. That is the end of my staff report. I'm more than happy to answer questions, and David, Line, and Caleb are here to answer questions as well.
Thank you, Mr. Ricci. Are there any questions for Mr. Ricci from Plan Commissioners? Mr. Allred.
Just curious, so it seems like the only policy guidance that we have in terms of plans show this as being light industrial in the future. Is there any history about why that is? And are there any concerns about us doing something that moves in a different direction?
I would say that I don't have any history on why this was designated as industrial versus, general business. Or let me try and go back to the screen share here. This is on the cusp of, and it's kind of odd, the zoning shows this as general business with industrial to the west, whereas the future land use shows this as industrial with business to the east. I cannot say why it was designated as light industrial rather than commercial, other than perhaps there was a wish that this would be more intense, or perhaps this used to be zoned industrial previously and was rezoned to commercial when the current occupants wanted it. I could definitely look into that for City Council.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Allred. I will point out that clinic or hospital is also a special use in the light industrial.
Thank you, Mr. Fitch.
If it's a value.
And if I could jump in on that as well. The designation in the comprehensive plan is actually called light industrial / office. We often just shorten it to light industrial. So if I could find it again, I have way too many windows open. Yeah, so it says the light industrial office land use is intended for planned developments that typically do not generate the intensity of heavy industrial land uses, may include professional and business services, light assembly plants, warehousing, etc.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Any further questions for Mr. Ricci?
Yep.
Oh, Mr.
Question.
Fell? Mr.
Yeah.
Fell?
Marcus, in your overview of the project, one of the things that I believe you said was the dermatology use wasn't fully designed and didn't intend on expanding the area of the building.
That is correct. Yeah.
The recommendation says, I'd have to go back and find it, or approved revisions to these plans. Approved revisions to these plans by building safety could be in addition. So I'm not necessarily saying I'm concerned about that, but is that a possibility, I guess? I mean, sort of on one hand, the presentation says they're not going to add on to this building, and on the other hand, the approval we're going to give them is they can add on to this building if they want to.
Well, so the staff recommendation was for approximately 6,000 square feet of clinic space. You have a point that it's possible that they could elect to add 1,000 square feet outside and only renovate 5,000 square feet of interior space. If you would like, I could certainly be clearer in my recommendation to say 6,000 square feet of interior space with no exterior expansion or expansion of the existing footprint.
Well, I think personally, I'm not necessarily concerned if the dermatology use wants to expand and can do that under the current planning and building safety rules. So it's not necessarily a concern to me. I just don't know if that is something that should be clarified.
Understood. And I will also defer to Mr. Line to be able to answer any questions about that as the applicant.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? All right, let's. I'll explain the procedures for public hearing. Now we've had the staff report. Thank you, Mr. So now the petitioner can address the Plan Commission if you wish. And following that, anyone who's in favor of the petition can address the Plan Commission. Following that, anybody who is opposed to the petition can address the Plan Commission. And then the petitioner can sum up the argument at the end. And then we will close the public input portion of the hearing and discuss and possibly vote. So would the petitioner care to address the Plan Commission? If so, just raise your hand and we can unmute you. I can't see you, so if you're physically raising your hand. Oh, there you are, Mr. Line. Okay. Let me see if I can unmute. Oh,
Yeah,
you're on.
I would just like to compliment Marcus and the staff, Nicholas Hansen, and your development people, Stephanie McMahon, Andrea Rudy. They've done an excellent job of assisting us in this process. And as Marcus said, we plan to renovate 6,000 square feet of the existing space within the confines of the structure, and we have no plans to expand outside of that footprint for the dermatology clinic that has yet to be designed.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Line? Okay, well, thank you, sir. Anybody else, any other, he said there's a Caleb. I don't know if he wishes to address this, he can. If not, we'll see if anybody who's in favor of this petition wants to address the Plan Commission. And so I don't see any hands raised. So anybody who's opposed to this petition can address the Plan Commission. Again, I don't see any hands. Therefore, I think we can go ahead and close the public input portion of this hearing and begin discussion. Is there anything anybody wants to say to Mr. Fell's point? Are you satisfied, Mr. Fell, with your?
Unfortunately, I kind of have to say on principle, no, because again, I'm not sure it warrants, I don't know, drastic action, but the approval that staff has is or approved revisions to these plans. And
Right.
that means approved revisions to these plans in perpetuity, I assume. So we give them a special use permit and they never have to come back if they increase the size of their special use. Now, I'm not saying I'm opposed to that, or that's something we need to address, but I'm mostly concerned that staff might be concerned about that issue and want to limit that somehow. So I guess if staff is comfortable with this position, I would be comfortable with it as well.
Would you be more comfortable if we struck the clause that or approved revisions of these plans and just then if they wanted to change it, I presume they'd have to come back to Plan Commission?
Well, no, again, I don't want to say revisions of the plans because I believe they haven't, as an architect, I can tell you, if they haven't started this remodeling yet, the plan we have may be sort of irrelevant, but the site plan isn't. So,
sure.
So part of our recommendation could be they can't substantially change the site plan and not use just the word plan. That would prohibit them from putting an addition on the building.
So you could say,
I assume without coming back to the Planning Commission.
Yeah, so it would say approved revision of the site plan.
Or
right?
Perhaps, maybe staff has a way to word this. And
I would suggest possibly just striking the or approved revisions of these plans which leaves us with the standard language of construction must be in general conformance with the attached site plan. So, you know, if they keep 6,000 square feet inside, but they elect to use more southern rooms and fewer northern rooms, you know, that's still, everything is inside, it's still 6,000 square feet. There has been no addition made to the building. Again, I mean, those general conformance determinations are typically always done by staff. That's that general trust in staff to, you know, allow small changes, but if anything is larger than a small change, it would have to come back to Plan Commission.
Is everybody okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to do it because it's our standard way of doing it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so any further discussion? Okay, any motions, and remember that when you make your motion, make sure that you call out that we're going to remove the or approved revisions of these plans from the staff's condition, recommended condition.
Okay, I move that we send plan case, I think it's
2404 SU20.
to the plan commission with a recommendation for approval with the modification that the or approved revisions of these plans be deleted, and we rely on our standard in general conformance with these plans language.
So moved by Mr. Hopkins, which is actually exactly what it says on the slide, but not in the memo. Can we get a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Hopkins, second by Mr. Fell. Any further discussion? In that case, I think we could have a roll call, please.
Mr. Hopkins,
Yes.
Mr. Allred,
Yes.
Ms. Billman,
Yes.
Mr. Fell,
Yes.
and Mr. Fitch.
Yes. That motion passes. And do we have a tentative date for city council?
I believe it is going to city council on October 12th. It
Great.
does not need to go to committee of the whole.
Okay, straight to council. Okay, appreciate that. Well, now we move on to, we don't have any new business. I don't believe we're going to have the audience participation, but there are these on the line. If you'd like to address the plan commission about something planning related that's not this case, just raise your hand. Not seeing any hands. Do we have a staff report?
Staff report.
No staff report. We don't have a study session, therefore we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.